What's going on, everybody? All right, back at it again today. We got some other trades that happened today. Today was not the best day for me. Um, I made stupid mistakes, plain and simple. So I'll go over it with you. Today I traded two different stocks. Um, Everything did not look good today, and PIXY was the first one I was looking at. And you can see I did mark out my lines here on the 1 minute chart. Pre-market, I guess, looked okay. A lot of up and down. Was able to give me a lot of lines to mark out on the chart. And I can tell you what I kind of didn't like about this stock. So here on the 5 minute, you can see it a little better. So came down pre-market and bottomed out here at 242 and established a low in for at least daily. Over here on the 1 minute chart, I did have an extra line here at 241. That was also a low in pre-market. So out the gates, came down and tapped the low of pre-market and established a low of the day, being live in the day. And this thing just had like massive volume. I mean, it took off and it pretty much went straight to the high of day at 320 and created a few taps, tap, kind of a wick, tap, and then just faded. And on the 5 minute chart, it's a little bit more clear to me that this was just a simple push, and it's a clear sign as who's in control. Now, what I did wrong was assuming that, hey, look, this thing had the potential to take off first thing in the morning and hit 320. So I'm over here thinking, okay, well, let's see, not looking at this. All right, so this is what I see in the morning. I'm thinking, okay, well, hey, sometimes this thing doesn't go all the way down and break this high or this low at 240. So I'm thinking, okay, well, this thing gave back the whole move and some. So let's just go ahead and take a starter position here. Got in with 100 shares just because it was a little early. I was a little skeptical on where it was going to go. Over here on the 1 minute chart, I had a pretty good entry here on the dip right here. And I expected that it was going to curl up and continue to fade. The second dip here down towards, this was a low of 241. I'm thinking, okay, this might have great potential to have another bounce. So I got in with another 100 shares because I was still cautious. I didn't want to get in with a very large position because it could potentially fade. So I went ahead and placed my stop. I had an average price of the first 100 share was 259, another 100 shares at 249. That brought my average to 254, and I placed my stop at 239. And on PIXY, let's see, time of day. PIXY, I got out. It closed at 234. So that was a 20-cent loss with 200 shares. So it was a little over 40 something bucks with commissions, So I was like, man, shit. That was my first move of the day, and it was kind of a shitty one. Now, for me at least, I have done this before, and I get burned. I'm trying to figure out what kind of made me want to get in on the move down? Why am I trying to catch dips without waiting for confirmation or something to confirm a reversal? And I know what a reversal looks like. I know once it finds a bottom and starts to stair step its way back up, you know, that's when I should start to get in. So it doesn't, to me, it doesn't really matter that I try to get in with 100 shares here. Um, I mean, in some way, it was kind of smart. I guess because I was making a stupid decision, I was trying to be smart about it. This could have worked out in my favor, but based off the history and the moves that I have made in very similar situations, it doesn't work out in my favor. So why am I trying to jump into something that just doesn't work for me? You know? So that's why I think that's a stupid trade. Of course, this thing faded the rest of the day, and you know, I guess in a way, I'm glad I placed my stop loss here because that was the low of pre-market and the low of the day. So after it kind of broke that, short sellers had a blast. You know what I mean? Short sellers probably love this thing dearly because they made all the money on it today. All right, PIXY's done. VCIG, like I said, nothing pre-market looked promising today. VCIG I traded back on Monday, and you can see here on the 20th that this thing ended up moving from, it opened at $3.08 and went all the way to a high of 11.32, and I remember this thing being really strong. However, it's a few days later, you actually have a short sale restriction right here on the montage, the level 2. So it just tells me that there's a lot more short sellers looking at this thing. And my first thought was, okay, look at the daily chart. What happened yesterday? The day before, it was strong on the 20th. The 21st, everybody else moves to the next hot stock. Short sellers start to come in. It's like sharks. It starts to bleed out, and these piranhas of short sellers just come and attack this thing and beat it up. So who knows? They could have been waiting for it to fade even further, because down here on the 21st, it ended up closing at 496 with a low of 465. Maybe they were looking for this thing to fade a little bit more, maybe back down into the $3 area. But we see right here at the open, no volume. There's no volume pre-market, right? And then all of a sudden this thing just freaking takes off and has these huge wicks. That to me just tells me there was probably short sellers that, this is just my best guess, could be wrong. My best guess is that this is short sellers covering. They had a large position. Maybe they held it all the way back from the 20th at $10. Who knows? Thought it would go lower. They held it overnight. Covered a large order. Now you get a lot of these pops. Covering, and now you're getting a halt. Halted going up. And this thing had quite a bit of potential. And it popped up on my scanner. I looked at this thing, and it just, I kind of can't believe this. To me at least, it just seemed kind of stupid. Let me squeeze this a little bit up. Squeeze it this way so I can see it a little better. There we go. Alright, so got alerted somewhere in here. And it established a high here at 762. Finally started to crack and lose some steam. Found an area of support, came up, and then you see this stair stepping down. So I'm going to try my best, because I studied the crap out of this thing afterwards on the 5 minute and the 1 minute to try to figure out what happened, where it went wrong. So you kind of see this area here boom. Front side of the move. Front side of the move. Boom. Front side of the move right here. This is the back side of the move. Right here. Front side, back side of the move. Now, if you're looking for a place to get in, you could have got in. But if you're going to be greedy and you're going to look for this thing to find a good entry and pull back, it very well could have. It did it in this area where it squeezed up, massive dip, found support on the 9 EMA and took off. But this thing was very extended from the 9 EMA. It doesn't really matter. I wasn't getting in here in this consolidation period anyways, because it was kind of on the backside of the move, and I try to stay away from that. I try to be under VWAP with the confirmation of the moving averages crossing the VWAP to the upside. So the backside of the move, I'm trying to get my words together, so stay with me. The backside of the move is here, and it found support, at least on the 1 minute chart. It's very clear we got some support right in here, right here. So this little area right here, right? This was the 50 exponential moving average. So once I saw, or what I should have seen is that, okay, look, this thing found support at the 50 EMA, right? And then it started to curl up. My entry could have been timed a little better. I had very poor risk to reward ratio. So what I look for is the cross where the candles are above and close above the VWAP and as many moving averages as possible. So I'm like, okay, this thing closed above the 9 EMA, the 20 EMA, and the 50 EMA, right? However, I do know that when you typically get that flush down, you're on the back side of the move, and we're trying to figure out who's in control. When that first push over VWAP comes, which is right in here. Now, I don't want to put a percentage on it. I haven't done any percentages on this. Maybe I should. But a majority of the time, that first push doesn't hold up. It's almost like, I guess, like the first bounce. When you get a lot of momentum going up, and it pulls back, you're gonna find a lot of support there because people who missed it are trying to get in the opposite way, right, and go back up. So my entry was pretty bad. I guess it was good when I look at it in this light, but so on the candle, my entry was good because I got in as close as I could to VWAP. However, my price target was actually at 7, and I can tell you why. Because right here is where you see a lot of wicks. You see a wick down here, up, wick down here, up, down here, up. So it seemed to establish a line right in here at 7. So I'm thinking, okay, well, support tends to flip and act as resistance. So I'm thinking, all right, I got in at 284 with 400 shares. I'm looking for the push to 7, right? My mindset at the time was to take half off the table. I should have just taken what I could have got. It went up to 294, 295, and I didn't take it off the table. But my risk management was garbage because I was risking. Profit target was 16, and I was risking 12 cents at 672. And where I messed up was when it started to curl down here, went to a low of 675, I thought, hey, this thing needs a little bit more room. Sometimes I see a pullback, you know, come just under the 9 EMA, a little bit further down. So where's a better area? So I adjusted it to 662 to give myself some more room. Um, and I did, you know, and sure enough, it flushed through, stopped me out, and the end of the day up like negative $140 or something after commission. So, um, not a very positive day. It's gonna take me some time to make this back. Um, Trust me, I'm asking myself the same thing. Like, what am I doing? You know. Um, but I gotta survive. You know what I mean? So execution wasn't too good. I was kind of trading on the backside of the move, and I know that that first initial push never tends to hold up. So why was I mean, I was just shy a few bucks or a few pennies from my price target, and if that's all it gave, that's all it gave. I can't change that. I could have kept my stop loss at the 72 mark instead, and saved another 10 cents, which would have been another 40 bucks that I would have saved. Um, because if you notice here, it actually took off. It did my setup. It did my setup. Now this is pretty key, and I'm gonna show you why. Especially on the 5-minute chart, you can see it a little better. 5-minute chart and the 1-minute chart, you can see it well. So right here on the 5-minute chart, you got two areas where it found support. On the 5-minute chart, this could have been a potential entry because you have the 9 EMA. It tapped the 9 EMA on the 5-minute chart and actually held up and then went higher. Did the same thing, but this seemed to be a little bit more of a key area. This was the 20 EMA right here on the 5-minute chart. And that's where we got that last good bounce, and then it actually took off because it found a solid area of support. Okay. On the 1-minute chart, what I recognized here was, for one, confirmation of the move. And what I mean by that is, okay, this thing just got rejected and it came down. When do I feel confident that this thing has regained strength? And what my best guess is going to be when this thing establishes right here. Oh god, what am I doing, guys? I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. Sorry about that. Alright, so this is what I want to show you is right in here you have all three EMAs crossing each other. You got the 9 EMA, the 20 EMA, and the 50 EMA all crossing each other right there. So when that thing crossed and you see this confirmation, this candle right here that went from a low of 653 to 677, to me that's confirmation that, okay, this thing is looking good, right? This is a potential entry as well. On this candle, this last candle right here, if you're lucky enough to get in and recognize this prior, you could have got in right here, right where all those EMAs are crossing each other. 655, 658, whatever. Another potential area here, which was right there. So what I mean by this is my strategy is you're waiting for the candles to close above VWAP. So all these candles right here, yeah, they did close above VWAP, but where's the moving average? It's still under, right? But then if you notice, the closer it got, the larger the move, the better the breakout, the more confirmation you get. So I would have said on these last three candles here would have been great opportunities to get in, because it's coming back down, and now other people are seeing this. So now you're seeing these dips getting bought up. So you start to add to it on confirmation. This is your confirmation, right? And for me at least, the things that I recognize is 7 was still an area of resistance. So my thought process is, okay, if I would have got in somewhere in here, let's just say 678 to 670, hypothetically, my first profit target, because right now I probably would have got in with 400 shares, right? 400 shares, and my first profit target would have been 7. So I would have taken 200 shares off the table. Or maybe I need to make another hot button to sell a quarter instead of half. So maybe that's something I should look into. But yeah, I probably would have taken some off the table. At least my thought process is. But this thing was strong, so maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I could have just let it freaking blow through this thing, and now I'm in the driver's seat. Now, on the 9 EMA strategy, I ride this thing until we get the break below the 9 EMA, which is in here. So it would have been about 50 cents, close to it. Or I could have taken my first cover around here at the, you can see it better on the 5-minute chart. So I could have taken my first profit in here at 760, taken half off the table here, letting the rest of it ride the 9 EMA, and I would have got out the rest of it somewhere in here. Well, somewhere in here. So anyways, that's my video for today, guys. I gotta get this drilled into my head. If this helps you at all, awesome. You know, because I took this leap of faith. I'm trying to get this lifted up off the ground. It's not going to be easy by any means. And if this helps you, you know, you're thinking about doing the same thing, I mean, more power to you, dude. If we can pull this off, we know the opportunities that are there. So, you know, we just got to keep our heads up. All right. Well, thank y'all for watching.